tripping out, cause I shut the lights out.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason from NightOwlsMedia, and if you are coming along from the last video, you already know who I am. So we're just gonna jump right in. So for my 2023 goals, I have been able to categorize most of my goals into 4 categories. Number 1, studio. Number 2, focus on branding. Number 3, social media and marketing. Number 4, personal and financial. Now, what I do want to say is I am focusing on the personal and financial as my 4th goal, not because it is the least valuable to me, like it's like the least important. That's not the case. The reason I'm focusing on my studio, focus on branding and social media marketing is because this is what I think might be able to help someone else out there. And hopefully you can take some of these goals and put them into your own life. Now, the personal and financial, sure, you can do the exact same thing, but they are a little more personal to me and my story. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump in because the studio might be personal as well, but think of this in your own line of work or your own business and how you can do this to help your own branding. So the first one is studio. Now, what is a studio? While I love this room right here, this is my main office. This is where I work. This is where I edit. This is where I do most of my everyday things. I need a place to shoot. And now while we do have a studio in Chicago for For Love Films, where we meet with our clients and we do headshots and boudoir shoots and other kind of family or personal type of photos and video, I needed something a little more corporate in mind and a little closer to home. So, along with my wife, we came to an idea of creating most of our basement and turning it into a studio space, someplace where we can not only film our video content, where very soon you're gonna be seeing most of our content filmed, but also where we can have clients come over and they can shoot their video business cards, talking head portions, product shots, anything like that in a very secure, closed, safe, and affordable environment, meaning I don't have to go out to their business and spend 2 hours to travel and set up and then an hour to break down and another hour to come home, charging them the whole time when they can just come over to our studio in my basement, in my house, and not pay that extra 4 hours. It's a win-win situation. They don't have to pay as much. I don't have to break down my gear. Which brings me to the whole mindset of why I'm suggesting maybe you can take something away from this, because you can create something in your home, somewhere in your office, somewhere in your living space, whatever, to have a dedicated video content creation location. So for our studio, we're going to be hanging lights from the ceiling. We're going to be hanging mics and cables and everything from the ceiling and then lock them in place so I never have to move them unless I absolutely have to. And what that does is it allows me to go downstairs, click on a literal switch on the wall, hit go on the camera, and I'm going. There's no setup involved. Everything's set up from the background to props to lighting, sound, and camera. Everything is ready to go. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted something simple because on one of our, Hilda and I, my business partner through EO7 and For Love Films, we sit down and we do a talk show called Coffee and Cameras, where we talk about branding, social media marketing, and everything else. But setting that up every time we wanted to shoot a video was really time consuming. So I wanted a place where literally we can just come together, have some coffee, talk about stuff, and then be done. So that's the studio. And the studio is set up into 2 different sections. One section is going to be gear related, where, literally all my gear is, and I really need to organize that space. And that is one of my goals, is to organize, clean, and make sure everything looks awesome. And the other space is what I'm calling the shooting space. And it's a big open area. It needs to be cleaned right now. So as you're seeing here in future videos, probably not this one, it has a lot of room, a lot of area, and open ceilings to be able to hang stuff, to be able to shoot stuff, to be able to move around. So those are the 2 big things. And then the third goal in the basement is to create a bathroom down there. Now, I am not a handy person at all, but my goal, knocking on wood, if it's possible to find a good enough contractor to come over and help us build a bathroom in the basement. So that is the studio. The goal in mind with the studio is to be able to have a place where I can have clients over, where we can create our content and basically have an all-around single place without having the stress of setting up lights, setting up cameras, setting up microphones and everything else every single time we want to do something, and something that's not in my office, so I can have a place where I can sit down with people and have a nice, clean environment that we can create content with. So that's a really big thing moving forward this year. The studio is going to be not only for that, but for another project that I'm going to be joining too. So super excited about the studio. A lot of stuff is going to be coming from there. Category number 2 is my focus on branding. Now, while I'm not saying branding, I'm saying focus on branding, because where I'm at right now, I understand my brand. We have got to the point where I'm understanding what we're wanting to create for people. While people can contact us and ask for whatever, we also have a goal in mind, what kind of content we would like to help with and what kind of aspects of business that we would also like to help. So having the idea of who you are first then allows us to focus on actually what we can do and what we want to do. So after we did the brand split, we have the 4Love Films for weddings, and we have EO7Media for our business, small business, commercial, and corporate. We are really focusing heavy on EO7Media. And we got to the part we got to the point, we sat down, we had tons of meetings, like who are we, who do we want to project ourselves as, and what are our branding goals? And once we understood our branding goals, we were able to really focus on what the next step was going to be. Let's start focusing on our brand. Let's start focusing on what we can do. And that's when we sat down and we created a branding roadmap, meaning here's where we are now, here's where we want to be, and then here's the road we want to take. So the road we want to take is our branding focus. And then each location along that road trip is a goal with our brand in mind, like how we can grow with this brand. One of them was to increase our team. We are doing that now. We have editors, we have shooters, we have assistant people. We're growing our team. But the big thing that's important is I don't want to just grow people. I want to grow people that I love and people who really have the similar mindset as us, that want to help, that want to create something of value and not just a paycheck. It's more about doing something for someone else because we have the ability to. Branding video content. We are calling this year, and we'll get into this in a second, but we are calling 2023 our content year because our roadmap has a lot of content coming our way. Our goal for this year is to really be content heavy. For example, with this video, I'm going to release the full video in its entirety, which might be the one you're watching right now, which might be not. But from this video, I'm going to create short videos from it. I'm going to create compact highlights of it. And then I'm going to create even shorter videos from that, such as shorts, reels, and TikToks. I'm going to create little 30-second clips from all this stuff in order to get more content out there. And that's the name of this year's game. New pricing structure. While our prices are going up slightly simply because of inflation and the world costing more every step of the way, our prices are going up. But more importantly, we're going to create a new pricing structure. And what that means is with last minute projects, with projects that go over weekends, with projects that take literal time away from my family and my crew's family, that needs to be compensated for, because it's important to take care of your lives and your people. And it's also very important to work with businesses that respect you as a person and a business. So that's going to be something that I want to focus on. It's not price gouging. I don't want it to feel like that. But to me, it's more about, hey, we need this done by Monday, and then they're dropping it on my lap Saturday night. And it's literally 30 to 40 hours of work. Now, while we can do that, are you going to take your car to a car dealer and say, I need this fixed by tomorrow, And they said, well, we can't even look at it until tomorrow morning. Most people will say that, but we also pride ourselves on getting stuff done for our clients as fast and as best as possible. So we have to up that third aspect of financial. On that note, I'm also going to be creating rate cards, which is something I've never done in the past. I have an Excel spreadsheet for all our costs, what people cost per hour, rates, taxes, things like that. But I've never been able to have a rate card and hand it to a client and says, here is what we charge for X. Because pricing out a video production, pricing out marketing aspects is a lot more difficult than just saying, hey, I want a CD from Best Buy. You go to Best Buy to buy a CD, it's $17.99, it's $20.99, whatever it is, if CDs even exist anymore. But for having video, a lot of people will contact us and say, well, how much is a 30-second video? How much is a minute video? It's like, well, are we flying to 3 different locations around the country to get content for that minute? Or are you literally just sitting in a chair talking to the camera and we throw up some graphics? Those are wildly 2 different price points. What it comes down to is what we do to put into that. Another example is, are you sitting in a chair talking to the camera, or are you sitting in a chair talking to the camera with custom animation? It all comes down to what we are creating, what we're putting into it. But we also need to have some kind of a starting point, which I completely understand. So having a rate card is very important, especially for work for hire scenarios. The next thing on our focus on branding is social media. Now, last year, I really wanted to focus on social media and I had all these goals in mind and all these concepts, but it fell to the wayside because we got busy. Now, moving forward, we're working with a marketing manager. Woo, fancy. We have goals with people in place to achieve those goals. And being able to do that, I think, is going to push us forward that much more. So going into our third category, social media, let's look at what social media actually means. Now, when I say social media, I'm not just talking about Instagram and Facebook. I'm talking the whole thing. Anything that we put out there as a branding element is what I'm calling social media, because to me, putting a commercial for my company on TV is not good business. I don't believe in the shotgun type of advertising. I believe in focusing on the market you actually want to work with, which is why I love making educational videos, because I like helping people who work in the same lines of creativity and content creation that I do. So social media is going to encompass everything that I can do and engage with and interact with. So social media, we are going to be focusing on 4 brands this year. We're going to be focusing on NightOwlsMedia, which is where you're probably watching this, which is our most highest subscription-based YouTube video as of January 2nd, 2023. And this is where we're going to put our how-to videos. This is where we're going to probably post everything. The goal is this is going to be our main page of content, from wedding films, from behind the scenes stuff, to media marketing, to content creation, to video how-tos about Adobe Premiere editing. Everything's going to be here. Meanwhile, For Love Films is going to just focus on weddings, boudoir, and family events. And EO7 is going to focus on media management, digital marketing, and more basic how-tos, how you can do video yourself, how you can do photos yourself. And Night Owls is going to encapsulate all of that together. Meanwhile, the 4th category, which I dropped a hint at, I'm not going to say anything, just got motion at the front door. The 4th category here for branding is, I'm not going to mention it yet. It's still in the works. It's top secret. But we are going to hit it like a volcano when it actually comes out. So we are focusing on creating a crap ton of content for that before it actually goes live. So look forward to that. Excuse me. We are calling to 2023 the year of social media, the year of content, because we are really going to focus on a lot of things. And one of the big things we're going to be doing is more long form videos. And up to this point, we've really only created short form videos, and not super short, but 5-10 minute long videos, when I want to focus on doing things like this that are more long form, because I really enjoy long form. And I think the longevity of video content is going to be long form based for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I believe that hey microphone, I believe that if content is being created for people and they're really engaged with it and they really want to know more, they want to be just completely covered in that realm. For instance, if you find a podcast that you absolutely love, you know how you can just become totally enraptured in that podcast for 40 episodes, and they're like 2 hours each. Another good example is TV versus movies. Movies are really good for short, simple concepts, or short, deep concepts, whatever. But TV is for characters. And you are more likely to fall in love with a TV character than you are with a movie, because movies are a spectacle. They're an experience. TV are your friends. These are an emotionally engaging road trip that you're going to go on with these people. It allows you to spend more time with people and you become closer to them. Now, that's not going to say I'm not going to make the movies out of the TV shows. For example, right here, this video is going to be cut down in a myriad of different ways. For the first one is going to be this long form podcast type of just open source talking. As you can notice, I'm not really editing this, but I will cut this down to a highlight version. I will cut this down to each individual section. From that, I will cut it down to individual TikToks or reels or shorts. To me, they're all the same thing. But cutting it down allows me to make more content, and not just to have more content, but it's because not everyone ingests content the same way. For me, if I see a video that's like 30 seconds to a minute long, I'm personally not interested in it at all. But if I see a video at like 10, 20 minutes, I will take that time to sit down and watch it. But I know most people don't. And I know that I am not my audience. So with that in mind, I'm going to be creating a cornucopia of different content. The things we're going to be focusing on are talk show-esque type of videos where I sit down with another person, or I just talk like this for the long form and then cut down. And then we're going to create podcasts from that. We already have coffee and cameras right now. We are going to be creating more. We're going to be creating video and photo help videos. We're going to be creating marketing and digital marketing help, and we're going to be creating cut downs. Wow, thank you. I appreciate you telling me someone's at the front door. And we're going to be creating cut downs galore, meaning we're going to be rifling all over Instagram, all over LinkedIn, all over TikTok and everything else. We're also going to be really focusing heavy on thumbnails. Thumbnails, I think, are drastically important. Make sure you're doing quality thumbnails, because the thumbnail, people are going to look at that before they look at anything else. They're going to look at that before they look at your content. They're going to look at that before they look at your title. They're going to look at that before they even look at what brand you are. Your thumbnail is the most important. So I'm going to streamline the process of making my thumbnails into topic related templates. So every topic is going to have one template that I change things out at. So if you go to our channel and you see one type of thumbnail, you know what type of content you're going to be getting from that without even looking at the title. I think that's really important. So that is my social media. Now, this is not as beautifully organized as the last video was, but to me, it's almost more important because I'm getting this out there. I'll edit it later, and I have 2 more videos to do after this. So let's jump in. Category number 4 is personal and financial. I'm adding this together because I think it's really important. So, number 1, you don't need more gear unless you do. And what that means is the same thing I said last year was I'm not going to buy more gear unless I absolutely have to for a shoot that I have contracted and down payment in place. If I don't have a down payment in place, the gear's not coming in yet. So I'm not going to just buy gear to have gear. I have gear, I'm fine. Everything, you don't need gear to make a better video, even though we all feel that way from time to time. I need to focus on what I can do with what I can do, or rent what I need for projects. For instance, I have 2 projects coming up in January where we're flying around the country, and we can't have a lot of our gear that we normally bring to our gigs. So we're paring down, but I need to travel with this stuff, and I need travel equipment. So we need to have that. So I waited for the contract to come in, I waited for the deposits to come in, and then I bought our travel gear. So that's on its way right now. Yay. Next, financially, is Smarty Pig accounts. I'm a big fan of Smarty Pig. I love Smarty Pig because it kind of does things in the background without you worrying about it, but you can still control everything. Smarty Pig is an online savings account that allows you to save for goals. For instance, I had a goal of buying a new Sony a7S III, and when I made my max amount, the $4,200, whatever it was, because you have to account for tax, I took it out of there, and on top of that, it takes out a certain amount every week, every bi-week, every month, however much you want to set it up for, from your bank account, and it gives you interest as well. So not only did I set up my max for $4,200, but I took out $4,350. That's pretty cool. So it allowed me to be able to make money while I was saving money. On that note, I'm going to set up the Smarty Pig accounts for different projects around my house, things that we've been neglecting because work has been going up. I'm going to be setting up projects. I'm going to be setting up Smarty Pig accounts for emergencies. We've had a couple pet emergencies and medical stuff pop up where it financially drained us. For instance, COVID hit and we lost all of our work for a year, and I had to take out my entire savings account and other savings account that I had on the side, and basically just to live on. So having that emergency backup is going to be really important for us. And then the last thing is I'm going to be pushing more money toward my Edward Jones. I want to be able to know that I can retire at some point and not have to hustle for every dollar when I'm too old to be relevant on social media anymore. So those are my big savings goals. Another thing, at least for my own health, is I'm going to start drinking less pop. Now, if you know me, if you've watched my videos over the years, you know that Dr. Pepper is my absolute 100% jam. If I am not genetically, am I in focus? I really hope I'm in focus. It bothers me like when it focuses on this instead of my face. This is the stuff you don't see when I edit things down. If you've known me for any length of time, you've probably seen Dr. Pepper in all of my videos, because it's been in all of my videos at some point, whether you know it or not, whether it's in the scene or not, there's always one there. And I'm on diet pop, so little to no sugar or fake sugar, whatever. That's not the important part. It's not good for you. I really don't want that in my body or in my life as much anymore. So I'm also realizing how much pop costs. This past year, a 24 pack of Dr. Pepper went from $5.99 to $14.99 in 1 year. That opened my eyes greatly, and I pretty much just stopped drinking it until there's like a really good sale for $7.99 24 pack. But even then, it's more than I used to pay, a lot for 1 year, and I just can't justify it anymore. I can't justify the enjoyment. But really, this is like one of the only drinks that I really love. It sucks, but I know it'll be better for me in the long run. Something that's really important is, I said it last year, is I don't want to spend too much money. Now, if it's work, that's one thing. I don't like spending too much money when it's work, but I also bought a lot of nerdy shit, stuff that I enjoy. And I don't want to keep doing that. So I'm going to be very mindful in 2023 about what I'm spending it on, and do I really need it, or is it just something that I can add to a cart, pretend I'm buying it, and then delete it and feel that little rush of consumerism before it goes away and I have to go back to reality. The last thing that I'm going to do for my little personal stuff here is I play a video game on my phone way too much. I play it way too much. I've been playing it for 3 years. 3.5 years. I've been playing it for 3.5 years. And this last year, I put way too much time into it. And basically, it's like an auto game, but I'll hit play and I'll just put it off to the side. But while I'm editing, I'm still going back to it like every, like minute. I'm like, okay, check. Okay, go back to editing, check. And it's the amount of time I've spent on it is disgusting, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to focus on what's going to make, my brand better and what's going to make me better. In this game, it's not. I can't just cut it cold turkey, but I am regulating myself to an hour of gameplay per day. And literally that's probably down from about 14 hours per day, even if it's just playing in the background. Actually, most of that time is playing in the background. But I probably spend right now about 3 to 4 hours on the game actually engaged per day. And that's insane. So I'm cutting myself down to an hour, and that's before work time and after work time only. So it's going to be hard to start that up, but I think that's really important. The next aspect is family time. Now, what I really tried to focus on family time last year and keep work time as work time, I'm going to be doing that far more and with more intent. So when my wife leaves for work in the morning, I come in here, I get to work, and when she comes home, unless there is a dire pressing job, or I have a job after hours, or if I have meetings, which this year, focusing on the meetings and content creation. So we'll see. But when she comes home, my goal is to save everything, put it on hiatus, go out, spend time with her, spend time with my pets, and enjoy my family. On that note, I'm going to play with my cats more. I'm going to play with my dog more. These are things that I think I do enough of, and when I really think about it, I absolutely know I'm not. So that's really important to me. I also have some personal projects that I need to either start or really kind of focus on. And not focus so much that it gets in the way of work, but these are things that pep up my spirit, get me going, or things that I really need to do now. For instance, my dad, he lives in Iowa, and I did a documentary about my father in college 20 some odd years ago. And it's very hard to watch because I knew nothing about video. But now what I want to do is I kind of want to redo the documentary. And it's about his story going to Vietnam, what he experienced emotionally and story-wise and everything else, and how he was treated when he came home. And I think I really want to redo this, but I want to take the time with the interview. I want to do maybe a week at his house, just talking to him in open conversations. And then it's more of a story rather than me just sitting him down in my living room one night and asking him to tell an hour-long story, and I condense that to 5 minutes. I don't want that. I want something a lot more impactful, mostly because when I was younger, my father and I really didn't get along sometimes. And as I've gotten older, we've gotten much closer, and I want that story. And one of the major reasons I got into video to begin with is my memory is garbage. It is absolutely terrible. I'll forget things that should be important to me and that are important to me, but I still forget them. And my fear is when my dad is no longer with us, I'll forget things. And that to me is terrifying. So I want to be able to create something and have something as a record. And this is why I have tubs and tubs downstairs full of tapes and photos, because I don't remember high school. I barely remember high school. I remember some sports aspects, sometimes at lunch. That's about it. I don't remember my classes. So I don't want to get 20 years from now and not remember my father or my parents or people who are really important to me, which is why I went into video, because video is everlasting. So I want to do this documentary with my dad about kind of discovering his story. And he moved back to his boyhood home in Anamosa, Iowa. So I want to take him around the town and have him tell me stories about everything. The next project I'm going to be doing is a project I'm working on with my wife right now called Two Cats on the Couch. And we do movie reviews and snack reviews, and we watch terrible movies and add commentary to them. And it's a lot of fun because I don't I mean, I do put a lot of work into it, and that's something else as a goal is I'm going to be putting less work into the videos, but I want to create more of them. So instead of making a very finely polished movie review, we're just going to talk. And if people don't like it, that's cool. The goal with it is to spend time with my wife. That's what's most important. So going on for Two Cats on the Couch, I'm going to be focusing on having more fun with that and just spending more time with my wife, making something funny. Then I have a gardening video series that I started 2 years ago, and I've never finished. I'd like to finish those videos. I think there's like 40 or 50 videos left to make, but I'm just going to get them out, get them done, and feel like I'm accomplished. And then not a video project, but a personal project. I'm going to be doing my garden for 2023. I love gardening. I've really fallen in love with it. So that's going to be my little zen for 2023. Lastly is the self-care. And everything I did in 2022 for self-care, I'm still doing. So what I'd like to do is understand that if I can't do something, if I physically, if I emotionally, if I financially cannot do something, I am not going to hold myself in a negative light because I can't do it. For instance, the garden video. It sounds silly, but I feel like a failure because I never finished editing them. I did a cooking show in 2018 that I've never even started to edit, and it's 7 episodes. And I feel like a failure every time I think about it. And I don't want to feel that way. So I want to get stuff done, but I also need to stop being so hard on myself so I can live with myself. You know, all my 2022 goals really hit home, and I want to be able to continue that. But if I can't, I'm not going to hate myself for it. I'm going to try to not hate myself for it. Guys, what are your 2023 goals? Or do you have resolutions? What are you trying to do better in your own life, in your brand, in your business, in your family? What are you trying to accomplish this year? I don't care if it's something that seems silly to say out loud. Write them in the comments. I honestly want to know. If you want to build a card house in your living room and have your cat run through it like a giant kaiju, okay, let's be honest. I really want to see that. You should absolutely post video of it because that's amazing. But anything at all, what do you want to do in 2023 to make your life or your business better? I want to know about it. And if you haven't figured out by now, I reply to every comment I get. And I say this now, and hopefully one day I blow up. But if I get like 1 billion comments, I'll still try and do it. But I will always try to comment back on every comment. So what are you trying to do for yourself and your business in 2023? I want to know down in the comments. And if you're listening to all of this, oh my God, thank you so much for joining us on this journey, because commenting, liking, subscribing, but just watching means a great deal to me. Okay? It means a great deal to my brand. So thank you so much. Guys, be better and do something awesome today. And thank you for joining me on this journey, because there is a lot more coming. That is a promise. Guys, have an amazing 2023.